The morning sun rose softly over the quiet suburb, yet inside that bright, freshly painted house, something dark and irreversible was happening. Tears shimmered in the old man's eyes as he clutched two worn suitcases, his life's remnants, packed and stacked at the edge of the door he once built with his own hands. His son, Marcus, stood stiff in the doorway, his jaw tight with pride, and behind him stood his new wife, Serena, her arms crossed, her lips curved in satisfaction. "It's time you go, father," Marcus muttered coldly, his voice trembling with a mixture of guilt and defiance. The old man, Arthur, didn't respond. His trembling hand spoke for him, as did the lonely silence that followed. And that's how love, the same love that once built that house brick by brick, was now replaced with silence, pride, and betrayal. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, and second chances still matter in this world, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps stories like this remind the world that hearts can heal, and lessons can transform lives. Arthur walked away from the house that had once echoed with laughter. Each step down the driveway felt like stepping away from his own heartbeat. The neighbors watched in quiet discomfort. Some whispered, others looked away. None stepped forward. It was a world where people watched pain but rarely stopped it. With nowhere to go, Arthur wandered through the town park until evening fell. His back ached, his breath grew shallow, but what hurt most was not the cold, it was the thought that the son he had raised with every ounce of love now saw him as a burden. Meanwhile, inside that same house, Marcus was celebrating his new beginning. Serena hugged him tightly, whispering that they could now live freely without old baggage. She had always seen Arthur as an obstacle, an old man with habits that didn't fit her perfect, modern vision. Marcus had convinced himself it was for the best, that Arthur would be happier elsewhere, maybe in some home for the elderly. But deep inside, a faint unease had begun to take root. It whispered every night when the house fell silent, "You did wrong." Days passed, and then weeks. Marcus noticed strange things. His business started failing, deals collapsed, and sleepless nights turned him into a shadow of himself. Serena's affection slowly faded as stress replaced charm. Their once happy mornings became filled with arguments. "Maybe you're cursed," she snapped one day. "Ever since your father left, everything's gone downhill." Her words stabbed through Marcus, not because of their cruelty, but because somewhere inside, he believed them. One cold night, after another heated fight, Marcus stormed out of the house and drove aimlessly through the dark streets. Rain poured heavily, blurring his vision, and he barely saw the faint figure walking along the road until his headlights caught it, an old man, drenched, shivering, clutching two familiar suitcases. Marcus slammed the brakes, his heart pounding. It was his father. Arthur looked up slowly, his face pale and thin. For a moment, neither moved. Then, as Marcus stepped out of the car, guilt overwhelmed him. "Father," he whispered, his voice cracking. But before he could reach him, something else happened, something he couldn't explain. The rain seemed to stop midair, and a soft golden light illuminated the darkness. Standing a few feet away was a man dressed in white, with a calmness that made time itself pause. Marcus blinked, frozen between fear and awe. The man's eyes were filled with peace, and his voice was gentle, yet powerful enough to shake Marcus's soul. "You threw away love," he said softly. "The kind that raised you, sheltered you, and forgave you before you even knew what forgiveness meant." Marcus fell to his knees, his tears mixing with the rain. He knew who stood before him. He didn't need proof. He didn't need words. He just knew. Jesus turned toward Arthur and touched his shoulder lightly. The old man straightened, his pain and fatigue replaced by warmth. "Your heart was broken," Jesus said to him, "but your love never failed. And love that endures will always rise again." Then Jesus looked back at Marcus. "A home without kindness is a house made of dust. Go, make right what you destroyed, and let your heart learn what it means to love again." The light slowly faded, and the sound of rain returned. Marcus trembled, reaching for his father's hand. "Forgive me," he sobbed. Arthur looked at him quietly, his eyes glistening, not with anger, but compassion. "A son's heart can be lost," he said weakly, "but it can also be found." Marcus helped him into the car, his hands shaking. When they returned home, Serena stood in the doorway, shocked to see Arthur again. Marcus didn't wait for her to speak. "This is my father," he said firmly. "And this is his home." If that's a problem, then I'll leave with him." His words were steady this time, anchored in truth. Serena's silence said everything. Within days, she packed her things and left. For the first time in years, Marcus and Arthur sat together at the dinner table, not saying much, just sharing the warmth of forgiveness that needed no explanation. The days that followed were quiet but full of small miracles. Marcus's business began to recover, but more importantly, his heart did too. He started visiting the church every Sunday, kneeling not for fortune or success, but for gratitude. Arthur grew stronger, his laughter returning in small bursts, and the house once again filled with something money could never buy, peace. One evening, as the sun set and the golden light streamed through the windows, Marcus looked at his father and smiled. "I thought I was building a new life," he said softly, "but I was actually breaking the only one that mattered." Arthur placed his trembling hand over his son's. "Now you're building it right," he whispered. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your simple action helps keep stories of love, forgiveness, and redemption alive for millions. Before we end, tell us in the comments, what lesson did this story teach you today? And as the last light faded outside their window, Marcus realized something beautiful, that no matter how far a heart strays, when love returns, it brings heaven's light back home.